Welcome to the archives of legend and lore. I am the chaotic GM, and every week I will bring a monster, humanoid, aberration, or some other being to the gaming table and put it in the spotlight, so to say. We'll discuss some of the lore, the differences in editions, and possible ways to use them in your one-shot or campaign. This time, we'll be swatting at the Homunculus. All three editions have these tiny pests, and they can be anywhere. So, let's jump into it with the new addition to the chaos. Story time. The thief slid his tool into the lock on the door, just like he had 100, maybe 1,000 times before. He could feel the slightest movement with his trained hands. One tumbler into place. This was once the home to a powerful wizard, but he disappeared a couple years ago. Second tumbler into place. You can still see the lights on at night. No doubt some old enchantment still doing their job. This could be the last job he ever needs to pull. The amount of gold might actually get him out of debt and purchase his tavern he always wanted. Third and next to the last one into place. Odd though, no magic keeps the door locked. A simple scroll of detect magic used on the door proved that. Maybe the spell wore off, or he thought no one would ever dare steal from him. Oh, there's the final one. And a quick turn, and the door slowly opens inward, just a little, enough that he can get his first peek inside. The entrance room looks, well, like any common living area. Furniture arranged around the hearth. No fire has been in there for some time, he thinks, as he slowly steps in, allowing more sunlight into the room. There are two doors into the room, and they're both closed. He quietly shuts the entrance door behind him, sliding the bolt into place. He goes over to the two windows and draws the curtains open, just a little bit, allowing sunlight to pour into the room. An empty wine bottle sits on the table beside an ornate oak and cushion-covered chair. It looks hand-carved, no doubt done from the finest craftsman. That alone would fetch a hefty price. The bottle has some wet residue in the bottom. Odd. He picks it up and gives it a smell. Elven wine. Only the best. He will have to remember to check the cellar for the full bottles. Artwork adorns the walls. One shows the docks at night, a thick fog rolling in. A little dark for his taste, but he's sure it will sell. On a stand next to the entrance door is a small pouch, some keys of various colors, and a roll of papers. Always the thief, he gently picks up the pouch, not even disturbing the dust. Wait, must be airtight in here. There's no dust on any of the surfaces. Again, could be an enchantment. Wizards are known for their laziness, after all. He opens the pouch, and inside are several platinum pieces, some gold, and a few silver. Already making out like his thought cuts off as he feels someone behind him. In a flash, he spins around with dagger already in hand to slash air. Nothing there. He could have sworn something was behind him. He has always had a great sense of his surroundings. Just jitters, he thinks, the coin purse already in his pocket. He slowly and silently makes his way over to the first door and slowly tries the knob. It turns freely, and he gently pushes just a little. The door opens without a creak, like it was oiled just today, he thinks. He is met with a staircase leading up. He looks behind him one more time before ascending the steps. Not much to see here. The only light was from the sun in the other room, and it fades quickly the higher he gets. The thief almost senses when he is at the top and reaches down for the handle. He's still on his game as he feels cold steel in his palm. He pushes the door open slowly, and is suddenly blinded as the room explodes into light. Almost falling backwards, he bumps against the wall. Steadying himself, he lets his eyes adjust and looks back into the room. Wall sconces are lit along the wall on the sides of the room. Magic, he assures himself. This room was the one he's been hoping to find, but the one he least wanted to pick through. The sanctum. Vials are filled and bubbling with some substance. I'll leave those, I do believe, he thinks. He looks to the bookcases on the walls, still filled with tomes. He smiles. His eyes slowly scan over the huge granite slab desk. It is covered with jewelry, rods, and a few weapons. His smile fades as he feels something behind him again. Dagger at the ready. He spins, dropping to one knee, and brings his knife up in a stroke meant to swiftly dispatch whoever it is, but air. Only air again. He looks down to see if there are other footprints in the dust. But, like the other room, this one is spotless, free of any dirt or dust. The room has nothing living in it. Well, besides himself. I have to be sure, he thinks. as he heads down the stairs to check that last door. It too is unlocked and perfectly oiled. The room it leads to is a small but functional kitchen. A wood stove, a small sink, and a center block is all the furniture. The cupboards hold some food, long past its usable time. Probably was fresh when the wizard disappeared. Another door heads opposite of the one he came in. He heads towards the door and opens it, another staircase leading down. He almost falls, catching himself on the wall and the banister. The third step is missing entirely. If it wasn't for his deafness, he might never have left this place. He reaches back up, closes the door, thinking he should light a candle. He didn't want to be seen from the street, though. He gets his tinder out and strikes the candle to life. But he holds it down and sees down the stair almost to the bottom, and the steps look fine. He begins descending again, noticing for the first time the walls have posters on them. Each one is different and shows a mage dressed in bright clothing doing a magic trick. The headline says, "The Master of the Arts. Come see him at the fair." This must be the guy that lived here, a performer of sorts it seems. He is so focused on the posters he didn't realize he was at the last step. As his foot comes down, he hears a crunch and feels something breaking. He quickly moves the candle down, revealing a robed skeleton. His reflexes kick in, and he steps back up a step as he cringes a little. Looking at the form, it's apparent the neck has been broke, and 2 pieces of wood are underneath the body. It was a second too late that he noticed the hot breath on his neck, and the tiny pricks breaking in the flesh. The last thing he heard as sleep claimed him was,
"Master is glad you came. He doesn't get gas that often anymore. He says you need to stay. We have so many tests we need to do on a fresh body. Master thinks he can be reborn in you. How marvelous."
Second edition D&D has them as small, mystical beings created by magicians for spying and other special tasks. Homunculi are artificial creatures created by wizards as living tools. The process by which one is created is long, complicated, and expensive. They are vaguely humanoid in form and about 18 inches tall, with greenish reptilian skin with warts or spots. Wow, something you definitely want to take on a date with you. They have leathery, bat-like wings about 2 feet across and sharp-pointed venom-dripping teeth. The venom will put its victims to sleep.
"All the better to eat you, my pretties."
They are telepathically linked to their creator. It knows everything that its master knows and transmits everything it sees and hears to him. Well, or her. The homunculus will never willingly leave the limits of contact with its master, though it can be removed by force. As soon as it loses contact, the creature panics and will do anything to regain it. They are a reflection of their creator, thus having the creator's alignment, basic intelligence, and even physical mannerisms. They cannot speak verbally, but can write if the creator is literate. Wait, so supposedly this magician could create this homunculus, amass the amount of money it takes to get all the stuff to do it, but he may not be literate? How to even read the spell then? I think that one's a little weird. They may assist their creator in a variety of tasks, including magical endeavors, but they cannot themselves cast spells. They must rest and require food and drink in order to survive. When eating, they share the taste of their masters and generally consume about as much as a typical cat. Shaping a mixture of clay, ash, mandrake root, and blood, one can channel rare ritual magic to create a faithful, squirrel-sized companion. At least, that's what 5th edition says. But I tried it, and all I ended up with was a mess. The homunculus is an extension of its creator, with the 2 sharing thoughts, senses, and language. You are only allowed one at a time, and if the creator dies, so does it. They are usually used as a spy, a scout, an emissary, or a messenger. A homunculus is an invaluable servant to their creators. In Pathfinder, most homunculi use a dose of their creator's blood as their spark of life and serve as a spy, scout, messenger, or assistant. They are created from a mixture of clay, ash, mandrake root, spring water, and a pint of the creator's own blood. They glean some of the intellect of their creator and have some of the same morals and personality traits. When the creator dies, the homunculus doesn't usually live for very long. Sometimes, though, they become awakened due to the part of the creator's soul transferring into them. They get free will, the ability to speak, and a greater personality. Sometimes they start to believe they are the reincarnations of their former masters, but can never truly live. They mainly become a cruel parody of life. Alright, this week's sponsor is the Gnome Depot. It doesn't matter if you're building a Warforged army or adding a room onto your hovel. The manager, Alstent, Roderson, Whitgills, Lenanto, Eswolf, wow, this thing keeps going and going. Al. We'll just call him Al. The manager, Al, assures me they have it. Not enough explosions in your life? Rent a gnome today. They tinker by the hour. Remember our slogan, how doers get more damage. Gnome Depot, not your average DIY store. Second edition states that the Homunculus is a quick and agile flyer which uses this ability to a great advantage in combat. It can dart to and fro so quickly that any attempt to capture it short of a net or web spell is almost impossible. It will land on its chosen victim and bite with its needle-like fangs, injecting a poison that can put them in a comatose state for 5 to 30 minutes. Probably, bite, snack, eat, kill them in that 5 to 30 minutes too. But, it didn't really say that. Or did it? In 5th edition, they also have a bite attack, but it will poison them. No sleep will come from it though. The bite does more damage in this edition, but it's its only attack. In Pathfinder, it has a jaw attack dealing piercing damage with a chance to poison and enfeeble the victim. Now, for the moment of truth, no lasso needed, we enter into our brainstorm session and come up with ways you can possibly use them in your one-shotter campaign. What's that? Oh, my homunculus tells me you're waiting on pins and needles. Scenario 1. On a hill, just on the outskirts of town, an old stone wall surrounds the property. There are rusted wrought iron spikes lining the top of the wall. Skeletons of animals and other things still stuck in them. An old gate stands in the front, fallen off its hinges and leaning against the wall. Through the opening, no path can easily be found. The hedges and gardens are overgrown and have reclaimed the land. Sticking out of the center of the property, an old crumbling tower can be seen. The windows weep blood from them, probably caused from the rusting of the bars covering them. Every night, though, a light can be seen moving through the halls. Legend tells of a powerful mage that once lived in the tower. He dabbled into questionable types of magic, always pushing the edges of what was acceptable. The story tells he came to town and got herbs and components before shutting the gates and disappearing forever. The tower holds all of his items and knowledge. This is where you come in. I'm talking to you, Dungeon Master. You can present this to your players as maybe a loot run, or that they were hired to get the items out of there, or maybe an old friend or possibly the Mages Guild have hired them to find out what exactly happened to the powerful wizard. When the party enters the tower, they find it to be rather clean and kept inside. It smells of candle burning and spices and oils inside. If the adventurers head down first, they could eventually find the basement, and you might have guessed it. At the bottom of the stairs lies a skeleton, wrapped in robes, with a broken neck. If they head up, they find a slightly deranged homunculus that believes his master still talks to him. He's been performing tests, as instructed. It appears he's just mixing herbs and oils and heating them. He will not leave with the party, and will not let them take anything. Perhaps, if the party decides that they're just going to leave him here, he hears his master command him to get rid of them, as no one can know about him. Or, if you prefer, they can all just leave in peace. A sad, tragic ending to the mage's tale. Another possible option is your players are murder hobos, and off the creepy little dude loot everything. If that's the case, you better start rolling up some good items. Scenario 2. Lord, insert name here, has been at war with his neighboring clans for decades. None of them ever seeming to gain on the others, until recently that is. The adventurers are hired to find out how Lord, insert his name here, seems to be one step ahead of the other lords. As the adventurers leave the keep to start investigating, they are approached by a hooded figure. He informs them that Lord, insert his name here, will pay them double to forget about the quest and move along to the next stop of their journey. They look like great adventurers, and fate is sure to need them elsewhere, so please just take the payment. If they accept, then I guess the scenario's over. Lord, insert his name here, destroys Lord, insert name here, and the other clans enrolls the territories. If they choose to investigate, they find out that Lord, insert his name here, hasn't actually been seen in months, since about the time this all started. He won't grant audience to anyone, and only speaks through his advisor, Vil Ann. There, I named one for you. Vil Ann will meet with the party if they want. He will offer them triple to let sleeping dogs lie. If they keep investigating, though, they find out that the advisor is a wizard and killed Lord Insert his name here and has taken control of his holdings. How is he figuring out how to counter every move of the other lords? You bet. A homunculus. A tired, overworked one at that. It is up to you, or more specifically, your players, to decide what to do next. Scenario 3. A town the party is passing through seems groggy and barely lucid. All that is except one shop owner. There is a line to get into Apex's apothecary and sleep shop. The owner, Apex, is pulling in coins by the handful and handing out little vials to the customers. His face brightens as he sees the adventurers enter his shop. He welcomes them to the small town and offers them some of his vials. On the house, of course. They are a brew of his own making. It will put you to sleep for 5 to 30 minutes. A sleep like you've never had. It is so deep. When you awaken, you feel like you've slept for days. It is almost the mid-morning rest time in the town, when most of the people take their power nap and get several days' work done in one. It's up to them if they take it or not, but if they stick around, the town is empty for almost 30 minutes. And then some of the townsfolk come out from their homes and look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They are moving quickly, almost too quickly, and go about their business. If your players care enough to see what is happening, the shopkeep closes at noon and heads to his house, an old windmill outside of town. He enters the building, the doors and windows start to close, and there's no way to see in. If the party somehow does get in, Apex can be found in his laboratory and cellar. He has about 100 vials set out in the holders on the table. A small reptile skin creature is standing on the table, grabs a vial, puts it to his jagged, nasty teeth, and squirts some viscous fluid into it. The foul thing puts the vial down and grabs another. The wizard is crafting some other liquid on another table. However the story plays out, Apex is mixing the poison from his homunculus and a special haste potion. He found out they have an interesting reaction to each other and produce his sleep potion. The problem is, if you stop taking it, you will either sleep for several days, or a couple of unfortunate townsfolk have actually died from it. It's up to you and the players how to handle the situation. Well, my little buddy here tells me our time's up. I always like having visitors in my chaos sphere. If you enjoyed yourself, please consider giving me a review on your podcast platform of choice, or on YouTube. If you want, click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. If you did like it and you aren't already, think about subscribing. I hope you can join me next time when we blow the dust off the tomes and look deep within their pages to unlock their secrets. Remember, if you are truly chaotic, your players will never know what you'll throw at them next.